Hello, class, and welcome to Unit 3.2. This one's on subjects and verbs. So the last one was stylistic, but this one really is important in regards to your grammar. Because subject-verb agreement, especially when writing personal narrative, expository writing, subject-verb agreement can tend to get a little confused. So they're easy mistakes that people make that can make a big difference when it comes to the overall level of competency with grammar and conventions. Having said that, let's jump right in. So a subject and verb need to agree in number in the English language. Some languages are different. So if you have a subject that's singular, it needs a singular verb. If you have a subject that's plural, you need a plural verb. And you're going to notice that a lot of this is common, like these are common things for native English speakers. If you're a non-native English speaker, then these are something you have to learn. Like I'm learning French right now, and I have to learn all of these, and it's tough. But as a native speaker, I instinctively know which one is right. The team is practicing hard for the upcoming tournament. The team are practicing hard. This one's one of the tough ones. The team ones are tricky. But the team is working as a singular identity here. And so therefore that one is. The team is practicing hard. Just say it fast. Whichever one sounds wrong is wrong, typically, for native speakers. Neither the dog nor the cat. Now, this actually teases those two out and treats them individually. So a neither nor or an either or creates singular subjects. And so just get rid of one. Just say the dog. Right? Then you'll figure that out. Each of the students, right? So you're thinking, well, what is this doing? The students is plural, but each of them acts as a singular unit. So those are kind of what you're going to do, right? Is a group of friends individuals or is it a collective, right? These are the questions. So these are tricky. They're good. They're good. I think you'll figure it out. This one has incorrect verbs, and so you're going to change the verb to the correct form. Each one of these is wrong. You're going to make it right. And then copy and paste 12 sentences from your analysis essay, your SIRS essay. For the verbs that are properly aligned, you're going to highlight them in green. And if you find that are not properly aligned, you're going to highlight them in red. This will help you to see if you have subject-verb problems, because you're going to focus in on it. You've just done the activities above, and hopefully you're going to see all greens. But you might see some reds, and then you can say to yourself, oh, I tend to use this incorrectly, and I need to break myself of that habit, or at least edit it out when I'm done. Hope this helps. See you guys in class.